In spring 2020, in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic facing the nation, faculty at the Barbara Bates Center for the Study of the History of Nursing at Penn received generous funding from the Leonard Davis Institute of Health Economics to look at the issue of nursing practice regulation during a crisis by considering the issue historically. At that moment, hospitals across the country, including those in Pennsylvania, were panicked about having enough registered nurses to staff their rapidly filling COVID-19 ICUs. As the crisis deepened in March 2020, Pennsylvania, like many states around the nation, took the unprecedented step of authorizing temporary licensure to qualified nurses from other states. What can history tell us about the need for this change, and why does it matter? We looked back to what has come to be called the 1918-1919 flu pandemic, when the registration of nurses had just been added to the professional and clinical landscape in Pennsylvania, to see what we could learn. Based on our historical research, we have several recommendations. First, all state regulatory bodies should immediately put in place mechanisms to move from state-specific nursing licensure regulations to the national compact system by 2025. And second, that we remain vigilant about how biases and assumptions about who can serve as a professional nurse play themselves out in pandemics. How did our historical research lead to these recommendations? When the United States realized it had to mobilize nurses to fight the flu pandemic 100 years ago, the process of nursing registration, unlike physician registration, was still new and highly controversial, even among nurses. By 1918, Pennsylvania had largely followed other states' examples. It enacted voluntary registration that only protected the title of registered nurse. Anyone could still practice as a nurse. But state nursing registration had an unintended but positive consequence. Registration made it possible to identify all the available trained nurses and where they were located in the state. In the wake of the 1918 flu pandemic, nursing registration slowly became mandatory and eventually evolved to one national examination that all new graduates take. But the awarding of registration, meaning the authority to practice as a registered nurse, remains state-based. While reciprocity exists between states, the application process is time-consuming and expensive. Well before the pandemic, in a prescient move, the National Council of State Boards of Nursing created the National Compact System. Quite simply, this means that any nurse licensed in a compact state can practice in any of the other compact states. Currently, 33 states belong to the system. Pennsylvania does not, but legislation is pending. Pennsylvania needs to join with other states and move immediately to enter the compact system. One final but very important finding from our research: many qualified Black nurses tried and were rebuffed from formal nursing roles during the 1918 flu pandemic. As we look deeper into the process of nursing registration, we need to remain vigilant about how these processes and procedures can reinforce structural inequities. And history is a powerful method to allow us to do so.